I have a tremendous amount of respect for my father and what he was capable of doing, teaching himself and managing his own business. But he looks at the stuff that I do, and you know, he's quite impressed with what he thinks he didn't teach me. You know, he thinks there's no way that you learned that from me, and I constantly say it's all from you. It's just a different way of doing it. Well, now we've only been together for, gosh, 8 months now, but we make a damn good team. Yeah. Abby is an exceptional carpenter in general, exceptional tradesman, but he's bar none, just a fantastic cabinet maker. We're a boutique cabinet making facility, so you know what you see is unlike what you'd see in a larger manufacturing facility, but we keep it small, we keep it tight, so we have control over the quality at every stage of the process. What we tend to do is we start all of our planning in the office, where we do all of our designing, our engineering, our shop drawings. Then we bring them out here to Abby, who is our lead bench carpenter, and we start the process kind of right here in the middle of the shop, where you see a lot of the stuff up here is staging. This is where all the cabinetry is already assembled and ready to go out to finish or come back from the finisher to be final assembled. But this is kind of where we do some of the layout. We take a look at all the shop drawings, make sure that we identify all the materials and the hardware that we're going to use, and then we take all those cut lists that we generated here right on back to the table saws. Come on back. So this more or less is our processing area. It's on the back third of the shop, so that we're creating a lot of dust back here, but as you go forward, that kind of thins out. We've got a 1984 Alton sliding table saw that is honestly the workhorse of this shop. I've owned it for a couple of years, but it almost predates me, being from 1984. And one of the things that I did with this business is I bootstrapped a lot of it, maybe I bootlegged some of it too, but I bootstrapped all of it so that, you know, there are a lot of things that we see that are used equipment that we've restored, that we put back into service. And there are other things like the edge bander that we bought new that we don't want to have any issues with, because some of these things are a little fussier than others. Some of them are built like tanks, like this. Some of them are built like Ferraris, like the edge bander, and we have to, you know where to invest our money. But back here is where we do our processing of sheet goods. We do our edge banding. We do our sanding for countertops and for doors. And we also just have, you know, our basic cabinet table saw over here. But the majority of the stuff outside of hand tools is done back here. So you can see a lot of the offcuts that we try to keep, just like every good woodworker. We try to keep every piece of scrap that we make so that we can reuse it in the future. Well, one of the things that I love is, I mean, it kind of just jumps out at you right here. This is a spalted maple, and it's not a great spalted maple, but it is representative of that fungal decay that you see after the tree is felled. There's probably another couple of good examples in here, like this one here. This kind of gives you a better sense of what you see. It kind of creates a marbled look. It's almost art unto itself, right? So sometimes woodworking is really easy. When you get the right lumber, all you got to do is put it together. Other times, you know, we're using just, you know, some paint grade stuff, whether it be poplar or maple. That's what you're going to see a lot of our doors made out of, is going to be either a soft or a hard maple. It's very blonde, it's very uniform, it's fairly sound and very hard. In order to you know, stand up to some good abuse at home. One of the most popular things that we see go out the door is white oak. We spend a lot of time machining and milling white oak, and we've just seen the prices and inventory. You know, inventory is going down, prices are going up. It's become very popular. Another one is walnut. This happens to be, some of the walnut in here is a little bit figured, but we focus, anytime that we use walnut, we try to go out and select, hand select, as a matter of fact, we hand select all this lumber, But when we go out and find this, we don't want to mix our sapwood with our hardwood. This represents a clear heartwood, nice and brown and reddish tones. When you start to see some of the sapwood, that's what we call calico. So when you're joining boards together, if there is a stain being applied to it, you can usually get away with a mixture of sap and heartwood, but if it's just going to be clear coated, we want to ensure that it's all heartwood. Yeah. Where we started was is a different career path, as a matter of fact. I started in advertising and public relations. I went to school for that. I got my degree. I thought that I was going to climb that corporate ladder, and I did for 10 years. And with every year that passed and every new opportunity that came and went, I just felt like I was missing something. I was missing creating something more tangible. And growing up with a father who was a master carpenter, I had the opportunity to see those things. And while I made a lot of mistakes working for him, he was able to correct them, thank goodness. But I learned a lot along the way. And at that time in my life, in my teenage years, I never thought I really had the interest in doing this. But taking that alternative path, with school and with the corporate path, I realized that there was something lacking there that getting back and work with my hands resolved that void. But this is one that's upcoming. You know Nick Berger, right? Yeah. This is for him. Yeah, it's going to be super cool. It's a new fireplace facade. And Betterell's up there. Okay. Yeah, so let's see. Let's do this. I'll push this out of our way. Sometimes we are outsourcing our range hoods. Sometimes we're building them here. It kind of depends on the situation, depends on the budget, depends on the lead time. That's one of those things that we constantly have to do. We have to evaluate with every project, because we're small, because we have limited capacity and space and manpower and machinery, that we have to kind of be smart about what it is that how we're going to accomplish every particular contract. So anytime that I am developing a proposal, I am got to be careful because this bottom panel isn't screwed in yet. It's good to see it. But yeah, so we're constantly battling. Well, right now we're battling, supply chain issues and cost increases on just about every product that we use, which has been tough because we get accustomed to using a certain thing, whether it's a hinge, whether it's a slide. Certain manufacturers have certain different ways that they do things, and it's impacted our business because if we can't get those certain hardware components from the suppliers that we normally use, from the manufacturers that we like, then we're reinventing the wheel. And we already do enough of reinventing the wheel every day by designing things that are unique and that fit particular spaces just perfectly. Now we have to do it and learn new hardware specifications along the way. And you can see that when we start looking at some of these plans for the kitchens, these are two kitchens that are on the floor right now. This one is going to Old Town Alexandria, and this one is going to Capitol Hill, where we do see, I'm sorry, this one isn't going to Capitol Hill, this one's going to Northwest DC. We do see the majority of our work in Capitol Hill, but that's kind of over the last couple of years. Now it's starting to evolve a little bit and become a little bit more diverse in coming into Alexandria, into Northwest DC, and it's amazing how quickly your brand can spread when you have an evangelist out there who's got one of your kitchens at their home, and all they're doing is telling their neighbors. It spreads really quickly. But this kitchen is actually kind of fun because the customer is very interested in, one, capturing all the cubic inch of space that they had in the room. Originally there was a wall that came out here, and the kitchen was just isolated almost to the same footprint that it is now. But we've been able to push it out a little bit, recapture this space over here, and this is looking at the plan view, and then have a little bit bigger island for them. One of the neat things about this, so that this customer, again, it's all going to be Miele appliances, and you can see that with almost every cabinet, there's some special interior pull-out or system inside in order to leverage the space more kind of ergonomically, if you will. But this is what we do here. We design and we engineer all of our own work. On the occasion that we're working with designers, I love it because they're giving us some specifications from which we can work. But typically, when we get a call from a prospective customer, we're ready to start designing it for their unique situation. When I started this company 8 years ago, it was only me. And I recognized fairly quickly that it wasn't going to, there weren't any legs. I wasn't going to be a profitable business. It wasn't going to be viable unless I had people that can work with me. And you know, it took a lot of years, and over the course of, you know, pre-pandemic and through the pandemic, so what would that be, 2019 and 2020, I had probably 8 different employees that came and went in quick succession, just because they had other things that they were dealing with, right? And or other aspirations that they had. So for a number of different reasons, it was very difficult to be able to find and retain good people. Yeah, skill is a part of that. But I made the decision after, you know, going through that churn, that I'm not going to hire for skill anymore. And that's why I have Max, right? But I'm not going to. So he checked that box. No, but in seriousness, you know, I wanted to I want to build a team around personality and fit and desire and the same ethos that I have. And Abby and Max are a start to that. And while I don't want to grow this business so that it is more of a hassle and more anxiety than what it's worth, I like the team that we have now. I can rely on Abby to be out here just doing it, and he loves it. So I'm selling work, and I'm designing, and I'm engineering, and I'm just handing him papers. And he comes out here, and he's really the one that does this back here. It's not so much me anymore. So I think we're a damn good team. Yep. Let's get a picture.